Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.
Look at the Coin360 website. It's a great representation of how cryptocurrencies are performing at the moment. A lot of the green color today, a lot of the currencies are in the uptrend, which is very nice to see. So we'll talk about the current position of Bitcoin, also the altcoins. I'll show you some progress with my virtual portfolio, and we will talk about some general trends and the core level of the way how we got manipulated from the mass media. You're watching a Crypto Answer channel. Let's go.
Let's go.
Well, as we saw yesterday, Bitcoin was correcting after the drop. Well, actually, I wouldn't say it is a correction. I would say it's a continuation of the growth which happened previously. So, but again, interestingly, we are bouncing off the trend line, which was initially a support. Now it's a sort of a resistance, but still we're going up. So we had this powerful rise and then correction down, powerful rise, a little correction down. You can treat it as sort of a bullish bull flags or something, but actually those patterns of classical technical analysis may not work even more or less properly or more or less often in crypto. So I wouldn't really rely on that. The fact is still that we're in a more or less medium term uptrend, and this is very positive in the long run. So we can continue to climb up to this trend line which I draw yesterday, this falling trend line. If we will break it and we'll try to hold the price above this line, this will be a very nice bullish sign. So we'll see how it will go. And actually one thing which I really like at the current situation is that if we'll make like averaging of the volume here, so you can see that during the recent bull run it was increasing and then was at the peak when we had the maximum price. Then we had the decrease of the price because of the bear market, so not price, the volume, and finally we got some very low volume, close to like the minimum for the recent months, and gradually we are about to increase the volume. So volume is picking up, and this is a bullish sign in my opinion. Another thing which I was going to mention is that just look at the previous rises after the corrections that were before. So that was a huge dump on February 6th, and we had like tremendous increase for a few days with like huge candlesticks, green candlesticks, and then it wasn't sustainable, so it fell. Another thing in April, again, very stressful situation for investors, for traders. Finally, huge candlestick and one more, so again wasn't sustainable, felt. Again, one more huge, like two green candlesticks, sharp rise. It more looks like the way of beating the those people who went short and want to get some profits in betting on Bitcoin will go down, but in reality it's not the organic growth. What we see here with the volume is picking up. Actually, again, we've seen some baseline base level with accumulation because the volume is relatively big. Also, this growth, I would call it much more organic growth than all the previous examples which I showed you. So it doesn't have such a huge bars which we saw before, and it's like those manipulating moves are some kind of eliminated, disappeared, and now we have just the regular price action for the retail from the retail traders, investors. And of course we have still 200 or 300, even 400 candlesticks, at some time for one day or even 1 hour, but still it's nothing comparing to those which were before, and pretty usual for Bitcoin in general. So this is much more like promising, looks promising to me. So I'm looking forward to see what will happen within few next days, how we will react with this, interact with this trend line. So very interesting. Speaking about the trend lines, I was going to share with you this global picture. So if you look at the Bitcoin price in logarithmic scale, you will see that we have a sort of a very nice straight line of support, like support line here. And in principle, people say that we in general for the future we may go along this line, so we'll hit that somewhere and then follow this line, and then eventually we'll go up and up and up, maybe 2020, 2023 or whatever, make a new all-time high. So what is interesting here though, that we would expect, like some people would expect, that we will continue to fall and touch it somewhere around here, like $5,000, $4,000. But in reality, you may see here that there was a relatively flat period of time here, especially in the previous bear market, when price didn't move up or down, so it was sort of in the same area. So it may happen that we also will continue to be trading around this area for a while. So we'll repeat this pattern, and then we'll not fall down, but we will continue to go up from this point, at least maybe even before that. It depends on the slope and everything. Actually, of course, this trend line is not necessarily to be repeating with time for this current condition, if the bull market will appear. But even the worst case scenario, if this will be this condition will be fulfilled, then we will face this, like touch this trend line, this inclined line at basically January 1st, I would say, or something around this time, and then from this time we'll continue to increase in price. So this is very interesting because not so far away, and of course if we'll continue to trade in this trend line, maybe it's not that fast, so it's a relatively slow process, but still it's still positive, right? It's still going up. So we'll see how it goes. Just want to share this with you guys. Speaking about the trends and also whether it's a bull run or like bull market started or it's still crypto winter. Yesterday I've showed you some virtual portfolio which I made, and also I added not only Bitcoin but altcoins there, so we can see the general trend and how does it perform. So basically, let me actually update that. I had like 3% plus within the first few hours, and then it had a drop because of the correction of Bitcoin. All the altcoins were correcting as well. A lot of the altcoins were correcting. So currently I have like 5%. Actually, yeah, I think it's 5%. This is change portfolio 24 hours, I think, or something like that. So in general, it was 31.5. Now it's 30, or nearly 33. So it's basically this is a change of the overall portfolio. So it's like 4.5% for within 24 hours, and I think it's not a bad result, especially if you're considering the controversial position in terms of the altcoins. And I have only 4. You see, only 4 altcoins are in loss: Knowles, NKN, PandyX, and the Key. Not that huge change, like 5%. I must say that I bought those all those coins by the market price. Like, not bought, but I counted them to be bought in the market price. So in principle, you should better to wait to some retracement, to some correction, and then bought at the relatively low levels, but then it may not change like that. So maybe it was the time currently, for example, to buy the Key or something like that. But even though I made this sort of blind buying action, still the majority of the altcoins which I bought, you see, I had like 34 coins, but how many? I have wait a second. Yeah, I have 44 coins, I think. So most of them are within 10 or 5 or a little close to 0, but mostly like 10. On average, I would say maybe 10%, 8% plus, especially like DTA data, mainframe, Digibyte, Trinity, Bytecoin, OneChain, EOS, they all perform good. So I would say if this is not a sign for altcoins market to go up, I mean, because this is the average basically for the relatively nice altcoins, of course, in my opinion, but still it seemed like to be a nice indicator for going up. So still while we're talking, we have even a little bit bigger rise. So, and another thing interesting, like a feature that this is a representation chart for the performance of the portfolio. So we had this increase and then drop. We almost were at the price when for which we bought this portfolio, and then we finally again went up. So now we have this 5% rise. So in principle, you can play with this buy and sell conditions and even make it better. But even without this swing trades, you can just hold it and have already like 5%. So of course, it's not a financial advice. All these altcoins, don't think that they're that too great, so you need to buy them. Please do make your own research and make your decisions on your own. The last thing which I was going to show you is, so you may have seen this movie about the like financial world in the Wall Street, and how people made money by trading, by buying and selling stocks, and fooling out with like retail investors and rip them off and everything. So the Wolf of Wall Street is the title of the movie, and Leo DiCaprio is the actor which was playing the major role there. So, but there also well, if you haven't seen this movie, please watch it. It's really nice. But there's also a book which was behind this movie, and the book was written by this guy, Jordan Belfort. So he was quite for a long time skeptical about the cryptocurrencies, and was often, you can find him like on CNBC or some other platforms, some other channels, which at which he was saying some critical stuff about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin in particular. So recently he was also again appeared on CNBC, and he was asked some questions about Bitcoin, about his opinion and about current situation, and he was again about rather critical, rather skeptic. And there are a few things which he said which I would like to address at the moment. So he said, "I always go back to the quote of Rothschild back in a day, give me control of the nation's money supply and I don't need even to write the laws." What it means that in principle, if you have, this is a famous quote, that it means that if you have the power for controlling the monetary policy in the country, you don't care about the other things which are happening there. You can rule the country basically by driving this monetary policy, and this is quite true in the general sense. So he's referring to that in the way that if you think that someone would allow to, like, usual people to produce money supply like Bitcoin, then it's a stupid idea. This is ridiculous, because all the institutions or the huge money holders, power holders, they will not allow to do that, because it is just against them directly. It will be disrupting and breaking their power. So he said that it's impossible. So that means that the Bitcoin in the long term is not sustainable. He also said, quote unquote, "and there is no way that they're gonna allow them to all these years of clapping down on Switzerland, for example, they said, okay, yeah, let's have an anonymous global currency, give up control of the voice paid. So it's outrageous to think that they will allow this to take hold. So basically along the same lines which I just highlighted. Another thing, look at it logically. Government spends so much money and resources to stop money laundering. Why on earth would they say, oh yeah, let's just give up the control of the money supply? So those are sort of arguments he made, and the tweet which I made about this, so actually good questions. So if it is indeed that strong argument that governments and like huge monopolies, financial monopolies will not allow people or other institutions to be providers of money supply, so if it is that huge, then the only one answer is that maybe they are actually the owners of those companies who are providing the new money supply. Otherwise, they indeed, it's really reasonable to think that they will not allow it to happen, to sustain. So since these questions are very transparent in the way that you may find a very distinct answer, so my answer is there any other way to explain that except that bankers or governments actually want to crypto to flourish, because otherwise it's easy for them just to make it say that it is illegal, so please, everyone who is making mining or doing mining or trading crypto are criminals. So nobody will do that, especially huge companies. So it will be really underground movement, and well, in principle, you may live with that, and nobody will give any. Nobody will care about that, basically, from the standpoint of the huge institution governments. So since it doesn't happen, so maybe there is something like, of course, it's sort of a controversial and close to conspiracy theories, but it's very interesting that those lines and stars are fit in the interesting picture if you would just assume that these things may happen. So hope you like this content, hope it was interesting for you. Please share this video if you like this, and subscribe to the channel, leave a like, your comment, it would be really appreciated. I would like to see you tomorrow in the next video, and hope you will have a great day. Goodbye, guys.